And I think a lot of it within the gay community comes from that fact that, as I said previously, you're taught through the media, through peers, and through uneducated people, really, that the way you feel is not normal and the way you feel is wrong. And then you're confronted with these images, similarly to how, how they say with a lot of girls in fashion, all the fashion magazines like how to be skinnier, how to catch a man by losing weight, and all this bollocks. It's kind of the same in this community, where you're seeing all these preened, perfect people, and you're attracted to them, so therefore that's in your head how you have to look. There's certainly been times where I was at my biggest and I was so keen to lose weight I just wouldn't eat for days, which is obviously completely unhealthy, but I'd be kind of fixated in my head like no one is going to be attracted to me. And this was at a time as well where I was outside of being gay, having a lot of mental health issues. I became sort of so infuriated with my appearance and not achieving anything I set out to as far as changing the way I looked, that I began self-harming as a sort of, I guess, I don't know, a release. And a lot of people in this community and in others, but particularly in this community, do self-harm or have self-harmed. For me, it was like being eternally frustrated with everything being slightly unobtainable, and having an open relationship, having a relationship that I could be honest with myself in, honest with the other person in, honest with my friends and my family, and it just was not something I could grasp at the time as ever being a reality. And then, my issues of the way I looked physically, I did end up in a relationship with someone for a couple of years who was very into me, but by this point I was kind of so far down the rabbit hole that I just couldn't accept that I didn't treat him particularly well. Since I moved over to New Zealand, I've made so many friends within the community that actually can't really comprehend, having not been a part of it for so long. And I also can't really imagine meeting anyone now that has that kind of barbed, bitchy prom queen thing going on that I experienced in my 20s, because everyone that I've met has been through at least one thing I have on their journey to getting to where they are as a LGBTQIA plus person. And here it's just been entirely different. It's just been welcoming and warm. Anyone that I speak to will, you'll end up engaged in a pretty decent conversation with him. You might make a friend. I made 2 friends recently that I was at Queenstown Pride, and just kind of met them in a bar and hung out all night, and now we chat and we'll meet up in the future, I expect. And that's just not something I ever experienced when I was growing up as a gay person. It was just so different, and I don't know whether it's because the scene has changed and people are sticking together more, or whether because I've gotten older and I've just been able to maybe pick people out better, or just not been willing to acknowledge people who behave like that. But for me, it has certainly gotten a lot better as I've gotten older and as I've gotten more secure with who I am, what I'm doing, where I want to be, who I want to be around. Having that support system of people who have some similarities, I think is key to moving on with your health in a positive way. When you are the only gay person that you know, yeah, your friends can empathize with you being down or going through something, but it's quite a specific thing that not necessarily other people can relate to. I've got very close friends that recognize it as gay or bisexual or other, and they have been really key in helping me find my place within the community and look at myself in a different light, particularly as far as my self-confidence goes, and looking at my physical self in a different light. Because there's certainly been times where I've just really been lost in life as a whole, but particularly I found through my 20s it being quite isolating, being gay and not having any gay friends. It did mean that meeting people, like, for, if there was a period where I was like ready to be in a relationship, meeting people was a lot harder. Again, this is a time before even Tinder and things like that were around. My friends didn't want to go and help me meet someone. I mean, I didn't really have the confidence to go with them and have them kind of cheerleading me in the background while I'm trying to talk to someone. It was nail biting, and yeah, it became really lonely and isolating. And of course, that feeds on itself. You don't feel confident enough to go out and meet these people and go into a gay bar on your own and go and start a conversation with someone. So you don't. So then you're spending more time alone and getting more isolated and more lonely and more anxious about it, until it builds into a thing where you just couldn't even accept the attention of someone when they gave it to me. A couple of years ago, I matched with someone on Tinder and we hit it off right away. But I was still so inside my head from the way I'd always trained my brain to see myself, that I couldn't bring myself to go and have a drink with him. And one side of my head was going, it wasn't an accidental match. You've been speaking for a while, like, it's obviously an interest here. The other side was going, yeah, but what if they see you in person and then are not interested? And that's the side that was really winning. So I was like, okay, let's get to the gym, let's start going for runs, let's lose some weight, make up excuses to not see them. And then one day I was just like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, you live in the same town, you've crossed each other in the streets, knows full well what you look like, he is interested. But by this point it had been so built up in my head, I just had to kind of rip the band-aid off. It was never going to happen. And we hung out and we got on really well, but of course this had been a big build-up, so didn't pan out the way that I think either of us intended to, but it did pan out for the best because we are good friends now. It was from that point that I was like, you need to stop punishing yourself for nothing. Stop punishing yourself for what you went through. Stop hating your past self. It's not his fault. Like, it's not his fault that he grew up when he did or came out when he did, or that he was sick. You kind of owe it to him to make the most of being well now, and to make the most of having found the confidence you found and having found the voice you found. And you owe it to other people in the community who maybe didn't find that or haven't found that. I really wish I'd had someone around who had been through what I was going through and come out the other end of it and could help me through it in any way whatsoever. I certainly know that I have the privilege of being that for a couple of people, and it's something I certainly don't take for granted. I think anything I can do to help someone recognize, the awesome qualities that they have, I will do it. One thing I've really had to force myself to learn, certainly over the last year, is that you really cannot give a fuck about the opinions of strangers. That is the most key thing I found in this community, whether it is people being homophobic or people within the community giving these wanky, bitchy little side eyes or passing commentary on your weight. You are a person who hopefully I'll never see again, and if I do, I won't even remember. Especially when it comes to certain apps, it's a minefield of head fucks. For some absurd reason, they have decided to add a little feature that tells you who viewed you. Like, cool, yeah, get rid of, crack down on people commenting on weight and race on the app, but by all means help insecurities by letting people know who has decided to look at you but not get in touch. Like, what are you doing? It's a dangerous app, I think, if you're not confident enough to know your worth. There's a lot of aforementioned very well chiseled and beautiful people on there, and there's also a lot of people that kind of just want to cause trouble, just want to send messages to be a dickhead. Great. Who are you going home with tonight? We are supposed to be a community, and as a community we should be looking out for each other, we should be lifting each other, we should be telling each other our problems, we should be complimenting each other on the way we look and supporting each other's endeavours and achievements. And that goes for everyone, regardless of what community you're in, but particularly in a community where people will attack you. You're higher risk of attack, you're higher risk of self-harm, of suicide, because of all the shit that gets drilled into your head throughout your life. You do not need people that are supposed to be your peers dragging you down as well. And I think if you are within that community and you do that to someone else, you are just a massive piece of shit, and you need to look at yourself really hard and work out why you think that's okay.